Good evening, everybody. This is Tim. Welcome to another episode of A Little Bit of Everything, a talk show where people can introduce subject matter that we can discuss together, or you can just listen to me babble for an hour or so. But just glad that people take the time to step in. Um, I said yesterday that I planned on going back to streaming in the morning this week, but that's not going to be happening. Um, it didn't happen this morning because not long after I woke up, I remembered that I forgot to do my laundry last night. So I had to take time to do that this morning. And then by the time I got that finished, I got a phone call letting me know that a large scale equipment storage tent got delivered to the food bank that I volunteer at. And I was asked if I could help assemble it. And I said that I would. So I went and did that. And then by the time I got that done, it was about lunchtime. So I just went and worked out on my property for a few hours um, in case the dump truck driver from a couple days ago was going to call me to see what this evening looked like. But since I didn't hear from him, here I am online streaming. So, um, yeah, anyway, but tomorrow morning I have an appointment with my builder, and then Tuesday morning I have an appointment at the county for the Election Integrity Committee, which is a it's a committee that the county recorder put together, and I was invited to participate in as a representative of the Libertarian Party. So I have an appointment that involves the Secretary of State on Tuesday morning. And then Wednesday, I volunteer at the food bank. And then Thursday, I may be helping a friend with on a job for a few hours. So practically every morning this week is going to be occupied. So all of my streaming is going to be in the afternoon and the evening. So hopefully I'll be able to get online early enough that some of the people back east can drop in. I know streaming this late at night in the evening, I probably not going to get very many viewers, but such is life. But life is good, and I hope that it is the same for you also. There's a subject that I was considering speaking on this evening, and I touched on it a little bit yesterday, and it's going to tie into the book of the day that I'm going to review. Not sure if I want to get into that now or check other things. Nah, I'll just go ahead and talk about it now. But the book that I will mention, I might as well just go ahead and pull it up here. Let's see. Here we go. The book is called A Culture of Conspiracy. I had touched on the subject of conspiracy theories yesterday, and that prompted me to um, consider this book as one to review for today's stream. And um, the subject of conspiracy theories is something that I had a great deal of interest in throughout the good, uh, I'd say from like the year 2000 on until, I don't know, 2010 or more. And I've read many, many books addressing different conspiracy theories. One, for example, being None Dare Call It Conspiracy by a man named Gary Allen. He also wrote another book called The Rockefeller File. And interestingly enough, the first person to write a book surrounding conspiracy theories was President George Washington, of all people. He wrote a book called Proofs of a Conspiracy, and it was talking about a group of people called the Jacobins who were involved in fomenting the French Revolution. And I also read a document called The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, probably at least 6 times. And one of the conclusions that I've drawn as a result of looking into all of this, and this book kind of goes in that direction, if I recall correctly. It's been several years since I've read this book. I'm mainly using it as a means of making a point, and that is that in order for there to be a conspiracy, and I'd like to back up a second just to define a conspiracy as simply 2 or more people working together to accomplish something. Usually that something is some kind of criminal activity, but it's basically just teamwork. And really, the conclusion that I've come to as a result of studying conspiracy theories is that in order for there to be a conspiracy, there has to be somebody that is being conspired against. In other words, a victim. And I realized that at that point in my life, that if people are going to be a victim, it's because they're choosing to. So when I saw that, I kind of lost interest in the whole subject of conspiracy theories at that point. And so anyway, this book kind of addresses about the whole notion of why conspiracy theories are so popular, particularly in America. And, when people are free, there's always somebody who wants to capitalize on that and take advantage of it to serve their own interest. And this is one of the reasons that America has really been a breeding ground for conspiracy theories. When people uh, give their power unto another because they don't want to accept the responsibility that comes with living a free life, well, people are going to capitalize on that and use that to their advantage. So, um, anyway, I mean, this was still an interesting book anyway. So now one thing that I would like to address in relationship to this is that there's a difference between being a conspiracy theorist and simply being a person that does not go along with the narrative regarding any given subject. For example, uh, one of the more popular so-called conspiracy theories surrounds the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And, if you don't buy the official narrative from the Warren Commission that said that Lee Harvey Oswald was responsible for shooting Kennedy, well, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, no, to me, that's not being a conspiracy theorist. That's simply not accepting the narrative that's being told. And usually, the unacceptance of those narratives comes from the fact that there are unanswered questions surrounding that particular incident. Like, for example, um, the person who sat in front of Kennedy when he was going through Dealey Plaza in that limousine was the governor of Texas, a man named John Connally. After Kennedy was shot, but before the Warren Commission report came out, Governor Connally said that he saw Kennedy get shot. That was his story at first. But then when the Warren Commission came out, they concluded that the first shot missed. The second shot created 7 different wounds between Kennedy and Connally. And then the third shot was the famous back into the left headshot. So after the Warren Commission came out, their report came out, Governor Connally changed his story because if the first shot missed, then he couldn't have seen the president get shot like he said he did. So then he changed his story to match the narrative. Well, when people change their story about something that they witness, that immediately creates question. And that's one example. There are other examples I can go into in relationship to that particular incident. But the point that I'm making is that simply not accepting the narrative surrounding a subject doesn't make one a conspiracy theorist. It just makes you a normal person that wants answers. Excuse me. But anyway, this book tries to address all of this stuff. And because I got into the subject of conspiracies a little bit yesterday, I thought I'd talk about this book as a book to review today. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now. I'll go ahead and take this off. And I want to take a moment to say hello to Mr. Hudat. Thank you for dropping in again. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So that's that. I really haven't had a chance to really look at anything online today, so I'm not sure what's been going on in the rest of the world as far as current events are concerned. So I may get into that real quick here. Um, Trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about first. Um, I suppose I can just digress slightly here just to see if I can pull up a price chart here. Yeah, here we go. I want to take a look at something. I want to take a look at the price chart of one of my favorite coins. Um, let's see. Got to pull I want to see the right price chart here. Give me a second, if you will. There we go. Oh, nice. Stretch this baby out a little bit here. All right. Let me pull up this pretty little price chart just to take a look at it. And like I said, I haven't looked at charts at all today. This is the price chart for COM. And boy, that is looking beautiful. We are basically in all-time high territory as far as candle bodies are concerned. Now that nice gigantic wick over on the left, that was created when Johnny bought up a big supply of COM and locked it up in the Time Pays Me contract. He did that online, by the way. So, yeah, COM is looking really, really good there. I need to look into the PHUX liquidity pools because that's the last I heard, the coupon rate was up to 13%. And I'd like to check up on that to see if it's increased at all since then. Because our coupon rate, that determines the cash value of the COM that you claim at the beginning of your stake bonus, your early stake bonus, if you stake for 15 years. So, yeah, that's looking really nice. Anyway, let me take a look here and see if anything worthwhile is going on here on Twitter. Let's see. Here's something that I could comment on. And this is Alex saying the subgraph APIs went live last night. Just wanted to wait a bit to make sure they were good before posting about it. Let me know if there are any issues. So this is referring to the API that the site GoPulse uses to display the information surrounding our hex stakes. And I got to tell you, being without that for as long as I have has been like creating some serious withdrawals within me. So I'm really looking forward to that being back online. Just, yeah, I don't want to elaborate on it, but I'm just happy that that's essentially done. Just a matter of it being posted. Let's see if there's anything else here. Uh, Here's a good point that I want to comment on. Mm, Let's see. I want to bring this up right here. And that is this tweet by Miss Togami Rosecraft, day one OG Hexagon. She says, asking billionaires to pump your bags is the most asinine thing I've ever witnessed. Stop hoping, start doing. I totally agree with what she's saying. You know, I was considering this today, and we really are in the midst of a revolution in regard to what we have available with Pulse Chain, because what we have is allowing us to redefine what money is and how we relate to it and how we use it, because the ability to create wealth has literally been returned into the hands of the individual and also to the community if individuals are willing to come together to work as a community. And it's like um, it's like the Bitcoin maximalist people. It's almost as if they moved the goalposts, um, like not in their favor by not addressing the bigger picture of what DeFi is. And it's like now, they need this large scale, capital injection to pump their bags because, you can't use Bitcoin to get more Bitcoin without introducing a middleman. When you do that, you're basically, going to lose your money, which a lot of people do. It's like they should have picked up the torch where Satoshi left off and moved forward, but because they didn't, now they're having to, rely on things like ETFs and billionaires to pump their bags instead of just staking it until you make it. You know, if you build a staking ladder and you stake it till you make it, then the price is irrelevant. What matters is what is the dollar value of the yield that you're earning. Once you have that, you don't need these crutches. So that was a very good point that she made. Let's see if there's anything else that is worth talking about before I get into something else, such as the Hexagon of the Day Award. Uh, hmm. Here's a statement being made by someone that I have a high degree of respect for in Hex, and is someone who will more than likely receive the Hexagon of the Day Award sometime in the future. And this is by statement by a man named Dustin Hawks. He says, a lot of people worry about this person or this entity dumping on them. I have got good news. Most of the richest people in Pulse, PulseX, and Hex are staked very long in Hex. These people do not need the money and have more money to buy with. Yeah. Again, if people are worried about other people dumping on them, it's because they don't get the system. They don't get what the design intention is regarding the product, um, particularly Hex. If you stake it till you make it, it doesn't matter if people dump. You know, that might mean that you have to stake more until you make it, but such is life. Um, you know, if what you want is to be independently wealthy, meaning you're not having to sell your time to live your life, well, then, you know, just do what is necessary to get to that point. That's the whole point of T-shares. So, very good point being made by Mr. Hawks. Let's see if there's anything else on here. Not really seeing anything. Hmm. Might be going once, going twice. Oh, here's something that I'll share with everybody. This is some pretty good news. Somebody posted today who used to be rather active on Twitter, but she disappeared for a while. And she just made a post today. And this is Hex Siren. She's like, still cheesing at the gym. Y'all, what have you guys been up to lately? Good to see her back. I haven't answered her question yet, but I will, or at least I should. I met her at the golf outing that was part of the Hex conference in Las Vegas in 2022. So, anyway. Let's see. I need to ask this person. Hang on. Wow. If this is true, this is going to be massive. I want to bring this up here. Garo 5555 says EHEX staking on Pulse Chain is coming soon. Think about that and think about where the value is at for your buys right now. Fade neither hex. This will really open up the market for those who like to use ETH but don't like the gas fees. Our community is the best. And someone had already asked him, and I was going to ask him if this person didn't, where did you hear about this, friend? Interesting. And one of the replies on there says that it looks like that this is something that Alex is working on. Boy, I hope he is. Alex is a genius. And if anybody can come up with a way to stake EHEX on Pulse Chain, it's Alex. So he's been fairly quiet for a long time. And that usually means his brain's working. And I hope for everybody's sake that it is, because, you know, I remember when Alex launched Hedron, and that I'm a big fan of Hedron. And when he launched that, I was a big supporter of that from day one. I mean, I don't talk about it hardly at all, but that's only because I'm mainly focused on Hex, Common, Inc. for now. Like I've said in past streams, I do have a goal regarding each one of those assets. And when the goal is reached on either one of those, then I will basically swap that out for a different coin that I will talk about and the goal that I will have surrounding that particular coin. So yeah, boy, that if that comes to pass, that is going to be wow. Because there's like I haven't checked the bridge lately, but there's like millions and millions of EHEX that has been bridged over. So yeah, that would be awesome. Johnny Sachs makes a good point here in this tweet that Hex is proof of weight, but COM is proof of commitment. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I've already pulled up the price chart on COM, so I'm not going to go back into that, but definitely want to just give a shout out to Johnny for stating that as if it wasn't obvious to some of us. Just good to be reminded. Let's see. Well, evidently there was some major dumpage today, but oh well. I didn't really notice. All right, going once, going twice. All right, I'm going to stop scrolling through there and creating dead air. So anyway, I guess now I will get to the Hexagon of the Day award, the prestigious and highly coveted award that I like to present in recognition to someone who has just done everything that they can to make our little community prosper. Actually, maybe before I get into that, who that just put up a comment? Let me check this real quick. When we are in prime bull market, getting into stables at the right time, I want to get that right this market cycle. I may ask you when that time is near. That's actually a smart idea because last year I received what was called a crash course in something called short-term capital gains tax. And that is something that you have to pay when you cash out of crypto, unless you swap your crypto for a stable coin and you leave it on an exchange like Coinbase for at least a year. And the reason I say Coinbase is because Coinbase is what I use because they print up tax forms that I can give to my accountant. But my accountant told me that if you swap something into USDC, send USDC to Coinbase and let it sit on Coinbase for at least a year, then you don't have to pay short-term capital gains tax on it. You pay long-term capital gains tax, which is approximately half of what the short term is. So that's something that, when we're at the top of the bull market, I'm probably going to, create, get myself some kind of cushion and send it and let it sit for a year. So yeah, you can check back with me later. Um, I'll probably talk about that, at the appropriate time. But yeah, that is something. If you have, a big stack, you got a lot of assets going on, then yeah, it's and you plan on living off of it and, doing responsible things, then that's part of being responsible. So, good point. I'm glad you asked that. Fat Sammy dropped in and says, "Hi, Tim. Hello, Mr. Fat Sammy. How are you? I noticed that you guys are got the whole thing going on with the liquidity pool over on PHUX. Um, I haven't participated in that yet. I haven't done much of anything with crypto. I mean, just tonight I pushed a few buttons, but I honestly haven't been in my wallet very often for probably a week or more. So, but I am paying attention to what you guys got going on, and it's very intriguing to say the least. So, and I notice we're coming up really close to the beginning of the second halving, and because I just ended a miner this evening, that was one of my buttons to push, and sent my ASICs back in, and fortunately, you know, got in right before this next halving comes up. So it's good news. But yeah, I'm glad to see you. Thank you for stopping in. So anyway, as I was saying previously, I want to get into the Hexagon of the Day award. And the person that is the recipient of this award, I actually had to change my mind at the last minute, because the person that I was going to give the award to and mention, I could not find their Twitter handle because they have a new account, and I was just typing it in the search bar and it wasn't coming up. So I have to do a little more homework to find this person. So I had to give it to somebody else at the last minute. But this person is someone that is kind of contributes more on the musical entertainment side of the community. And we're about the same age. So we kind of have similar tastes in some of our music just because of that. And it was really good to meet this person in person, because he had to travel quite a long way to come uh, to the conference in Vegas in 2022, and he was part of the entertainment at the mansion party that happened during that time. And that's when we got to, meet face to face. And I'm just really glad that he's part of the community. And he asked me to submit a little video excerpt for a Christmas special he put together a couple years ago that I was very glad to do. And so, yeah. And he does stream from time to time. Actually, he streams quite regularly, but his streams, like I said, it's more on the entertainment side, the musical side. But to change it up a bit, I wanted to recognize this person for his consistent and continued contributions to the space and to the community. So with that, let me bring his profile back up again. Here we go. And want to give the Hexagon of the Day award to my good friend, Mr. Go ahead, DJ Cryptomatic. Like I said, the DJ has provided a lot of entertainment for Hexagons over the years, and some of his sampling with different Hexagons record their voices being recorded has just been very creative contribution. So I appreciate everything that the DJ has done, and I look forward to participating in more activities with him. He's the type of person that makes me want to get a passport and go overseas just to hang out with. So congratulations, Mr. DJ Cryptomatic, for being a Hexagon of the Day. I'm sure he would be greatly honored. So I see that my friend Mr. Track Gravity has dropped in. Let the bands play. Yes. If you get confused, listen to the music play. So good to see you, Trap. Thanks for stopping by. Really enjoyed our conversation we had a couple weeks ago on that Saturday night. There was on one of my streams, I don't remember how long ago it was. It feels like I've been streaming for a long time, and it's only been a little over 2 weeks. But I was sharing with someone, I'm pretty sure it was Vets in Crypto, about the role of music in my personal life, and the fact that it was something that I got turned on to at a really young age. And I was giving this person a review of some of that in detail. And it was funny. I was talking about it for like a half hour or so. I was talking about different music in my life, and not once did I ever mention the Grateful Dead. Because I was talking about everything that I was exposed to and took interest in before I got to that point. And the conversation shifted before I got to that point. But it was something that I just made me think of you. And I thought how ironic it was to, talk about that subject to that degree of detail and not mention that band. So, because, I consider myself rather blessed to have been exposed to so many different genres of music and so many different bands and groups and artists. And the fact that I liked all of them at one time or another. And now it's like I like them all. I don't know if it's because I've just gotten more mature with age and not be so much of a maximalist when it comes to music, because I was really a maximalist when I got into the Dead. It's like they were the only thing for a very long time, and everything else was just whatever. But now it's like I've explained it this way to certain people online. Today's music is so bad that I feel like I have to write letters of apology to Barry Manilow and Air Supply for all the terrible things I said about them when I was a teenager. Because the fact that computers have replaced talent to such a large degree, it makes today's music, it's more of a product rather than an art. I mean, like I've gone to a couple different places, and in the past couple years, and it's like you're not there to see a band. You're there because a DJ is pressing play on a laptop, and it's like, that's not the same thing as a group of people, you know, each one playing a separate instrument, and they're all able to work together without the need of a conductor. I mean, that was one of the things that always impressed me about bands. Because when I was a kid in elementary school, I learned how to play saxophone and I was in the school band. And, trying to get us kids to follow the same tempo was like herding cats. I mean, our poor music teacher he'd really stress out over that. And I can understand why. And, the fact that there are people who can perform together because they have enough just intuition that they can, carry a tune and carry a tempo without the need of a conductor is impressive, especially when you have like six musicians like the Dead. That's a lot more challenging than it appears on the surface. Hudak comes back and says, yes, we need to help each other. Call the top, brother, for sure. Thanks. Yeah. And in my case, it really doesn't even have to be the top. It's like, because I know what my financial needs are, I know where I need to be in order to make the call for myself to make the necessary provision to do the things I want to do. But of course, it helps to, do those big moves at the very top. But unfortunately, you don't know when the top is until it starts to come back down. But first world problems. That's just something we'll have to, keep an eye on together as we get there. So, um, yeah. That's that. Not sure what else I can do to occupy some time here. Let me take a look over here real quick at this thing to see if there's anything going on here. Let's see. Here's an interest. Since Track Gravity is on, I'll share this on here as kind of a shout out. This is a thing from my Facebook page, and this is a group I'm signed up on called Grateful Dead Forever. It says, Vince, LOL, who the hell is this guy and why does he catch so much hate from the community? His shows aren't my fave, but I feel like I'm missing something for the amount of shade thrown his way. Please fill me in. What did this guy do? Well, this gets into the aspect of human relationships. The fact of the matter is, if you're not familiar with the history of the band, they went through several keyboard players. Their first keyboard player, a guy named Ron McKernan, who was also known as Pigpen, he died suddenly at the age 27 from alcohol poisoning. And that the audience at that time, they just it was just a fact of life that they had to deal with. Then his replacement was a guy named Keith Goodshaw. And Keith, if I remember, he died suddenly in a car accident. And um, he was replaced by another keyboard player named Brent. And Brent, as a matter of fact, got a lot of shade when he first joined the band because um, it's like the audience, when the first keyboard player died, they realized, yeah, he had a prolonged illness, so they knew he was checking out. So the audience was more accepting of his replacement, Keith. But then Keith died suddenly, and the audience had a more difficult time dealing with that. So Brent uh, was not openly received, and Brent also died suddenly. So then Vince replaces Brent, and again, he's not well received because people have a hard time accepting change, especially when that change happens um, suddenly because a person passes away suddenly. The fact of the matter is, I thought Vince was a fairly good replacement for Brent. You know, he put forth everything that he could at the time to make things work. So, people just need to learn to accept life and, adapt to these changes that come along. And, that kind of gets back into the conversation I had recently um, with my aunt in regard to her sister's behavior, which happens to be my mother. And, unfortunately, my mother is one of those types of people who has a hard time, you know, dealing with life because her primary response to everything is either to panic or to get offended. And, it makes it challenging for people like that to be in relationships with other people, including your own family. And I've had lots of talks with my mother about this, and it's like she agrees with me, but she keeps going back. It's like the same tapes just keep playing over and over again. She still doesn't really get it, and that's carried over into her relationship with her sister. And I don't want to get into a whole lot of detail, but it's amazing how many people just don't understand just the basic laws of life and how life works. And that's one of the things that I want to get into on my Saturday streams as time goes on, because that those behaviors are what we're seeing even in our own community, with all the drama and stuff that erupts on Twitter from time to time. It's people just don't get how life works. So, and a lot of that just stems from the fact that people have bought into a narrative that, the universe is just one mass of chaos and that there's no law, there's no such thing as law, when in fact there is. We have laws of thermodynamics, law of gravity, these laws of nature that, because they exist, they allow us to have things like calendars and growing seasons and those things allow us to have an economy and allow us to really survive. I mean, imagine what life would be like on this planet if the planet just arbitrarily changed its rate of axial rotation, and one day we have 12 hours of daylight, and next day we have only 4 hours of daylight, and the day after that we have 24 hours of daylight. It's like, you know, that would make life really difficult. But fortunately, because the universe is governed by law, we have stability. And people need to get stability. If our space is going to succeed, we need stable people to represent it, because that's what attracts everybody else. Uh, you know, Dysfunctional people may be attracted to dysfunction, but dysfunctional people usually don't create success. They usually create conflict. And as I've talked about before, my goal is to create a successful society, and that's part of why I'm here. So, who dat drops this notice? Ink is at 332. That's a cool number, because that was my address at one time, in a house that I lived in. So, good number. Thanks for letting me know that. Um, like I said, I haven't really looked at prices a whole lot today. Um, so, anyway, I am coming up on an hour here, and this hasn't been a very active stream this evening, probably because I'm on later than usual. So, excuse me, that's understandable. So, um, I guess I'm going to call it. So, thank you everyone for stopping in tonight. I'll probably, like I said, I have something to do in the morning, so it'll probably be later in the afternoon, early evening when I stream again. So, until then, I'm going to go. You all have a good night, and we will talk soon. Bye.